This is Adam Mitchell, the author, in Chapter 7 of the original work, Dolores. Any resemblance to real stuff is purely coincidental, yada yada, bada bing, bada boom. Dolores 7. San Francisco, California. Subject 12. Daniel Shelley in a previous life, born in San Diego at a bad time to be born in San Diego. The war came. His parents died with a lot of others' collateral damage. Evacuated to Boise. What's the opposite of a bunker baby? A flash-blind kid in a refugee camp. That was a long time ago. Currently, Daniel is in a K-hole in a basement lab owned by a tech firm. Physically, he's in an isolation chamber, an egg-shaped thing that starves the senses. Outside, delicate skeletal things, precise instruments. Robot arms with surgeon's hands wait at attention, insectoid and automatic. Still now, swift and precise when called algorithmically and automatically. A great bundle appearing fiber optic runs into the head of the egg and into the skull of the man within. What enters him, his brain, is more a needle. The spike in the man's brain is covered with tiny fissures, ports, from which the finest filaments extend, tunnel, dig into brain tissue laterally, really in every direction. The microfilaments are flagella-guided little microscopic bug legs dragging bodkin-tipped conductive wire into the meat of the organ, the brain. The result is a grainy hologram of a man's battered brain with a spike like the trunk of a tree growing down, its branches splayed out, spear spread. The body is fluid-fed, IV. Some great Schultze beneath the rig floats the body on a strange force, an effect so piss-poor partial understood it may as well be magic. The limbs of Subject 12 twitch and strain at the elastic tethers. They hold the man, number 12, limbs splayed, a body rounded down to vessel, downgraded to a jar for his own brain. Holy light, he mutters again and again. They record, probably for posterity, as the previous 11 attempts at this abomination suggest he will die at some point. At present, the tortured thing is alive and semi-conscious. The K-hole accentuated by an exquisite and unique hallucinogen and more than a bit of a hypnotic. Asterisk. Make him go into the computer. The middle manager in the gray suit. He has two emotions, bored and angry, and demands urgency and efficiency from all. Manager's trying to reason with a man in a lab coat, allegedly a doctor whose microdoses of something magical reached and breached the macro. Hey, he snaps. Do you even hear me? Claps in front of his face. Dr. Feelgood starts. Make him go. Make him upload. He's not a cat. I can't simply herd him places. Doc Feelgood leans back on a lab stool. They are in an observation gallery above the chamber, the auto-surgical suite. The room stretches and shrinks. The ridiculous man in front of the doc, so deliciously, so exquisitely distorted and textured by the drugs, he looks even more silly. Focus, degenerate. Compliment coming from a fascist. Why is the subject not doing what we need him to do? The sweaty-faced doctor gathers himself enough to tap at the console before him. Two brains at a state of rest. Boop. The third hologram hovers. The perfect picture of three brains rotating slowly in 3 dimensions. Frozen light, ghost glass. Guess which brain is dead? The suit guesses correctly. Great work. Which one is our subject now? The suit is correct again. Excellent job. I'm your supervisor, smartass. I'm the talent, the expert, and I'm not sure what you do here that a nagging AI couldn't. I signed your check, degenerate. I'm pretty sure code can sign checks. The doctor continues. There's something weird. Tap. That's fMRI of a brain engaged in conversation. Points to Subject 12's real-time scan. Notice something? Less light. Accurate, but insufficient. He's got more activity than a coma. Sure as shit less than a human brain talking, saying words. We've had a few subjects that if I didn't know better, were in some form of hibernation. Poke the bear and wake it up. Wake his brain up. Do it now. This is why I called you Philistine. Do human brains hibernate, typically? The manager, I don't know. The answer is no. The doctor takes a few drops, then the whole of an eyedropper of something viscous and purple into his mouth. Snorts something out of the crook of his thumb to balance himself, sways a little. I'm back, man. I'm back on the fucking journey, and we've seen 10 of the last 11 exhibit something similar or same. Manager, we are moving forward. Oh my God, I'm trying to move forward. We are moving forward, doctor, and sometimes you go back and you stop and you think to go forward. There's something weird we don't understand about our subjects, about the people we keep butchering and killing. Below, an insectoid arm, robotic, skeletal, reaches from the wall. Its servos are near silent. The thing is swift and precise and gentle as it does expert maintenance on the body in isolation. These subjects. This is a list of potential subjects, man. It was drafted by Abel, right? Before? We do not discuss Abel, doctor. There are no records of our having anything to do with that monstrosity. Yet now, the middle manager snatches the druggie by the face. Really hear me. There is no record of LuxTech in relation to Abel because Abel emerged from networked bots out in nature. The doctor nods, fearful, sweaty. The manager's knotted face distorted, past distorted as he ruins his victims, precisely uncalibrated high. I'm glad we understand each other, doctor. Asterisk. The special agent is sitting at his desk at the home that is not his home. Fake work, real consulting firm. The laptop wafer with the interface, haptic and holographic hovering display and keyboard called into being only when the slate thing is powered. It sits in front of him. On it is a spreadsheet where beans are counted, not by him, but by the silent AI gliding behind the money math, beneath the snitch malware. The boss at his knock job installs productivity managing software as SOP. This is standard Great Compromise and New Deal shit in the aftermath of pandemic and conflict. White collars work wherever they want. And where there's tall buildings, there's anything from retrofitted co-op housing to vertical farms and renewable platforms. In return, the assumption is that privacy is gone. That last bit, the ghost of privacy, is proving the poison pill for that once great compromise. There is no such thing as off the clock, and no one talks politics near a work device. No one leaves a work device in a Faraday cage or in a quiet room for too long. Prolonged silence is taken the same as expressing the wrong opinion. Do either, and they'll find a way around labor law to shit-can your ass, to fire you. Not a terrible thing in a world where everybody left alive got their first plate a few years back. It's a butter, not guns economy. But the ones who do corporate in the here and now would rather die than work on a farm or in a factory, funny as that sounds. Even if, to be a suit in this moment, private sector white collar is like living under the KGB or Stasi in a previous era. The AI beeps, applies a gentle force feedback tap to the side of Special Agent's head, reminds him to quit daydreaming, to move his fingers as if typing while the machine does his homework for him. Tap, tap, fake, fake, tap, tap. A woman named James is little, from a speaker on a shelf, 2 more beeps. Agent taps the earpiece, hears the AI-curated portion of one of his bug's most recent burst transmissions from LuxTech. Something dirty from the basement that might tie the company and Reagan man to Abel. The test results are in, you're the father. Ishmael, pause workflow. Yes, sir. Special Agent addresses his AI aloud, plays his role flawlessly. He feels like a frayed rope, like a condemned man. I'm meeting a colleague, a potential source for discreet drinks. Understood. His hand passes over the panel on the desk. Print reads. Drawer lock pops, and he transfers a small weapon to his waistband. Elevator deposits him in an underground parking garage. Ishmael, cue scuttle, and ready my route. Affirmative. Head neutral, peripheral vision on a swivel. The package he's about to dead drop is cued on his phone, his second phone. Worst case, he scuttles, and Ishmael burns this identity and himself. A Special Agent bugs out to a life where he has a name. The man, the agent, the identity's phone pings. Head down to a text from Anne, the source he's handling. I need to see you, get me out. Fuck. Footsteps behind you. Ishmael hears the rubber-soled shoes on concrete long before the man can. Special Agent sees her face, distorted pig nose and the nylon pulled over her head. Sees her in a shadow behind her in the mirror of a car ahead. Phone to pocket, hand to belt to gun, tap, tap, feet quicker than he gauged. Belt up like a lasso, loop like a garrote. The shorter woman behind, the agent lunges up to choke him with it. Duck, he does. Left arm lurches up to catch the noose, snatches the belt, pulls, leans, pivots, and tosses the woman over his shoulder in a heap. Agent wheels with pistol pulled, shoots twice. Man following falls. The woman's back up, freak fast, belt around his neck. He gets the free hand between the leather and his living flesh. Her legs wrap around his torso, crushing. The clatter drop when she swats his pistol away. Ishmael, still standing, he twists, staggers, and slams her into a car. She snatches his earpiece out. Scut. She throws it far. Scuttle. Who are you talking to? Fuck you, Alice. He gasps it out. My name is Ann, Pencil Dick. She hisses. Chokes harder. He pulls the little knife waistband, stabs blind. No fucker, she gloats. Special Agent slides to the ground and pinned between his back and a car, choking him to death with a belt, legs wrapped and locked. Void tugging at the edge of his vision. Agent swipes weakly. No. The knife slides under a car. Ann frees a hand while he struggles, then struggles weaker. Punch to the shoulder, cold and narcotic sweet. The man the Fed shot sits up, brushes two flattened rounds from his vest, wincing. That's the last thing Special Agent David sees before the black. Asterisk. When the white panel van with some fake business ad on its side leaves the parking garage, there are two bodies in the back. Special Agent and Sam, corpse of the assistant to the great man. Ann will dispose of the bodies. She will take the express train to Chicago, the artery, underground. From there south, she will fix this. Rid of her nylon mask and dead-eyed, she turns on the radio before pulling into traffic. Sings along sweetly to her playlist. If I die at 23, would you bury me? Asterisk. North of Peoria, Illinois. And when the grass grows over me, shh, hark. Dolores stops, singing to listen to the servos and the sound of galloping metal at some distance and closing. The four travelers wade off the road in tall grass. Jack is a deer. We're all fucking deer now. Jonah on his belly, Dee crouched near Jack, and Abbott skulking in the rear, apart, crouched and hiding in tall grass. Armed response, back up, back, back up, back. The two great dogs bark loudest and deepest. The smaller martels yipping at their flanks and heels. ARC's ARCs, the big ones. Armed response canid bots, or whatever the acronym once meant. They lope less like wolves and gallop more like bison. Jack is making deer movements, she demonstrated, and whispering, deer, 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 tensely. Dee watches the things not moving. One of the small dogs identifies the fauna and bounds on, the pack breaking around their cart and an abandoned car continuing on to secure a civil disturbance reported the day before by their fellows. One lingers, steps close, too close to Jack, a big one, the Ark. She's frozen. The metal beast's head is shaking like it's got mad cow, assessing fauna. And its head slumps and twitches as if lost in some cold reverie. The muzzle of the high-caliber weapon, welted to its back axially tremor, twitches back and forth across Jack's head, a pendulum, a sort of Damocles. Through the grass, Jonah sees the thing bleed, hydraulic fluid dripping from its shot-up guts. He can see part of its face, chunk of rebar spearing it. The beast grinds and sputters. Jack is shaking. Click, click. Down the road, one smaller dog chases little ghost lights above the road. The pack member that waited for the old one. They pop and dazzle. Ephemeral fireworks click, snap, pop. And the big beast rises to look. The gun off her, Jack sighs and sinks slow to the ground. The Ark barks, assessing, and the two stragglers begin down the road. The mechanical dog and Sal, both still deadly and mad but distracted. Dee and Jonah watch Abbott half out of his hiding grass, eyes closed, snapping, muttering to himself. He leads the last two drone dogs of the pack far off and away. After the dogs go, and then after the tension, and when the fists unclench, Jonah pukes in the weeds. Jack peels back the tarp, snags a pillow, lays in the grass, howling into it only to pop right back up. Way to be useful, Dad, from Dolores. I am nothing if not self-interested. I intend to reclaim my vessel and skedaddle. I am not fighting Abel. Yeah, we're doomed without your inner light, Dad. Abbott goes on, I don't get what you think you'll accomplish. How do you intend to fight Abel? You think he's got one body? I'll unplug him, Dad. Dolores rises and starts walking south. The others follow her, Jonah pulling Jack's cart while she walks for a while. Abbott, so if you manage to muck up his power source, what happens? You poked him in one of his million eyes and he floats a barrage balloon over you and kills you. You won't be here, Dad. You get to fly off for milk and cigarettes again. It's not your problem. Dee stops in the road. She kicks dirt, continues. I will fly a crop duster into the heart of the barrage balloon after a stirring speech about politics for Jonah and Jack. I love that movie. It has its moments, Jonah. We're going to kill God. Yes, we are, Jack. The wild woman digs in the cart, relocating bedding and improvised weapons and canned goods and bits of whimsy. She sets aside bags of ditchweed and mushrooms and the little brown bottles and tinctures. Would these help? Jack's holding a bandolier populated with bulbous grenades in one hand and a satchel charged with 2 incendiary explosives dangling over it, loosened, delicate and freely, just dangling. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Jonah exclaims. Yes, helpful. Can I carry those, Jack, please? She tosses Jonah the sack of explosives. He gasps and catches the incendiary that almost falls to pavement. Jack slips the bandolier over his bent neck, kisses the top of his head. Thank you, Jack. It's late in the day. As they walk on, Dee makes Abbott explain the layout, everything he remembers of that bunker beneath Peoria. Floor plan, design, systems. And Dee demands he repeat it. Why? Because I will ask Jonah to force-feed you something nasty and explosive if you don't. He wouldn't. I might if she asks nice. Tell me, Dad, tell me again. Where in Abel's bunker does this go? She walks in the red sunset holding a mining charge in one hand, an incendiary device in her pocket. There's a tall building or two on the horizon and a lot of broken-toothed rubble piles growing slowly, footsteps slowly, a ways away. Red light on pock marks by the side of the road. Dolores sees cars being consumed by nature. She, who enjoyed reading Rachel Carson, wonders how nature likes drinking their oil and transmission fluid and eating their brake pads. She wonders at the ones who called the war a purge or necessary, the ones that rediscovered the trash written by Malthus and worse men. That obligation to endure is really the obligation to care and to care for. It means the future has to live with the fuck-ups of the past, with the Abbotts and the barrage balloons and the Reagan ghosts and the cars next to fields of landmines and UXO. This doesn't account for whatever was in the Midwestern soil after more than a century of industry, what people spilled on the dirt and plowed under before the mad dog drones started roving and rampaging and leaking hydraulic fluid. She places the deadly thing in her bag. The last light lingers, the breeze perfect, the air almost sweet. She thinks people are the solution and the problem, always has. The obligation to endure has as much to do with caring for people as caring for the Superfund sites and dumps that we make them live on. She starts her song again. To Bury Me in the Sunshine. End Dolores 7.